Hello friends, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is my mystical bookshelf. And today I have another Audible, cozy mysteries series. And I'm trying something different. I don't have the visual in front of me at the moment because I'm using my phone to record. So I'm no longer using my husband's phone. So I am going to try and insert a picture. I should have done this for my other two videos. So hopefully it goes well. And because I'm not really that savvy with editing yet, so I'm hoping that it'll be okay. But this book series is called Homicides and Homicide. And I can't remember who it's by, but hopefully you'll get to see the picture and you'll get to know, because I don't remember. But I listened to this in February, and I enjoyed it. It was kind of a mundane book. It was very detailed. There was lots of good descriptions in it, I will say that. And it was kind of different. Like, the storyline was very different. It wasn't as fluffy as other murder cozy mysteries are, but it was still pretty good. I think I gave it like a 3.5 star or a 4 star maybe. I don't know, I wasn't crazy about it. There was only the first book that was available, but because the other books are available for credit, but the first book was free, so I'm like, that's lame, because I want to listen to the rest of it, but it's not available for me because I only get 1 credit a month. And I used my last credit on Wings of Starlight, which was totally worth it. And I made a separate video about that. But yeah, so this book takes place in Maine. And it deals with Iris. And Iris is... oh my gosh, what even does she do? I think she wants to jeez, as I choke on spit. I think she wants to open up an apron store with her grandmother. Pretty sure that's what that is. I'm almost positive that's what she wants to do. She wants to open an apron store, and the apron store gets halted because there's a murder. And they find, well, it's like a murder that happened a long time ago. So they find a dead body in the apron store, which was crazy. And it was like a skeleton, so it happened like a super long time ago. And I guess it was one of her grandma's friends. Her name was Star. That was like her stage name. Her real name is Debbie, I think. And this murder mystery was very drawn out, and there was a lot of moving parts. Sometimes it was hard to follow along, but most of the time I could stay with it. And so I really enjoyed it, actually. But let me just pause for 1 second. Hold on. Hello, sorry about that. I really had to go to the bathroom, and I was having a hard time focusing. But yeah, anyway, so Iris wants to open an apron shop with her grandma, and she and her grandma find a dead body in their apron store, and oh my god, it's so weird, because it's her friend, it's her grandma's friend from like the 70s. So we kind of go through this whole backstory of how her grandma and her friend met, and everyone's just trying to figure out what happened and how it happened and why it happened, and there's a lot of moving parts in this one. It's kind of interesting to go through. I feel like it made me think of another book I had listened to that I might make a video on after this one, but it wasn't connected in any way. It just was the same time period that they took place in, because it took place in the 70s, and this other book I was listening to had also taken place in the 70s, so I kind of drew connections to that. It was Eve's Daughters, and so I might make a video about that, but this video is about Homicides and Homicide, and so we have to go through the whole backstory of why Star was murdered and stuff, and it's interesting because I actually I actually predicted one of the twists. So, like, Star was kind of promiscuous back in the 70s, and she had a lot of boyfriends, and she had dated a couple of friends in the friend group. Her grandma had this friend group with Star, and she had dated a couple of the men in it, and they were all suspects too. And it ended up being that Star had a child with someone, and it was like a secret. Nobody knew about it. And I was guessing that it was Kevin, because Kevin was this nerdy reporter in the book, or not a reporter, he was an inspector. He was a nerdy inspector. And I was like, you have to have some connection with Star. And I was right. He was her son. And I thought that was really cool that I figured that out. Because I was like listening to it and I'm like, what am I missing here? Because I had a feeling that maybe Kevin was her son, but I couldn't figure out who the father was. And the father ended up being this man named Elliot, who was Star's lover in the 70s. And I guess he was the landlord of the place that Iris and her grandma were going to rent, and he was kind of mean, but I guess maybe back in the day he wasn't mean. But so yeah, they had the child together, and it ended up being Nancy, Elliot's current wife, who was the murderer of Star, and she poisoned her, I guess, because there was some weird poison smell coming from, because Elliot ended up getting murdered too, unfortunately. And there was some weird smell that was coming from him, and nobody could figure out what it was, and I guess it was this weird plant. So, yeah, it ended up being Nancy, who was Elliot's wife, and she killed Star, and then someone else killed Elliot. I think Elliot was having an affair with someone, or someone wanted to have an affair with him, and the gist of it is, I think there was this young woman who was trying to have an affair with Elliot, but she was trying to get rid of Elliot's wife, Nancy, and she ended up poisoning Elliot on accident. And then Nancy was going to try and poison someone else, but didn't. And then we figure out that Nancy's like really crazy, and she was the one who murdered Star way back when. And so now Star's murder was finally put to rest. And that was just a really wild ride to listen to. Like, I loved all the storytelling and the connections. It's always interesting hearing pieces set back in the day, like in the 70s and stuff, because it just feels like things were so different back then. And I think this book takes place in the now time period, so it's even more interesting to hear like how people acted back then, like what connections did everyone have to each other. And I feel like the characters were a little bit flat. Like, I can't really remember exactly everything about Iris. She was kind of just there, I guess. Like, she was okay, but I can't remember any of her friends' names, and none of them really stuck out to me. This was kind of a 3-star for me. It was middle of the road, I guess. I would recommend reading it if you like cozy mysteries. I kind of just was scrolling through Audible, because I feel like when I finish a really good book on Audible, I feel like I get into a little bit of a slump, and I'm like, I don't know what to listen to now, because there's not that many options for like free books, because a lot of them are credit based, and I only get 1 credit a month, so I try and like ration my credits. And so I want to use my credits on books that I actually really, really, really want to listen to, like Wings of Starlight. And I kind of just scroll through like what's free on Audible and kind of go from there. I don't necessarily look at the ratings right away. I mainly just like type in like cozy mysteries and see what catches my eye, and Hems and Homicide caught my eye. And like, I love the descriptive writing in this book. It was really good. It was really interesting. It made me want like Maine related foods, because there was some coastal areas, and there was some points where they were talking about crab, and I'm like, oh my gosh, crab sounds so good right now. And the way she described it, it sounded so yummy. And like, I like the fact that Iris wants to open an apron store. Like, who even wears aprons anymore? It's so weird to me. Like, that was the part that kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. Because I feel like aprons are such a 1950s aesthetic. But I guess maybe Iris is just trying to bring back the trend. But it just felt weird that that was the premise of it. But it was definitely just like a fluffy, cozy mystery. It wasn't anything too extensive. It wasn't too deep. It wasn't like that memorable to me, I guess. But I mean, like I said, it's just something to listen to if you don't know what else to listen to. Because for me, for Audible, I scroll through the free books and I look at the titles, and there was a pretty picture of an apron on this one, so it kind of was like caught my eye because I was like, oh, that's interesting. It takes place in like a dress shop or an apron shop in this case, and I thought that was kind of cool, kind of weird and quirky. And there was a little bit of romance in it with some guy who was like a handyman around the place, around the small town, I guess. It kind of gave me the vibes of like Dream Harbor. I guess that was kind of the vibes I got from it, but there's no, like, it's not heavy romance. It's definitely not heavy romance at all. It's mainly like, I want to go on a couple dates with you, and we'll see where this goes. I don't want anything serious right now. So it's kind of like a friendship thing, but they like each other, but it felt more like a friendship thing. And I can't even remember the guy's name, honestly. Like, this is so sad. I took some notes on it, but, like, I didn't write anyone's name down besides Elliot and Nancy, and that was, like, the main conflict in the story. I guess I'm curious where the series is going, but since it's pay blocked by a credit, I probably won't find out because I don't want to use my credits on this book series because it's not worth it, honestly. Like, the first book, yeah, go for it if you want to listen to it because it's free. But, like, other than that, I wouldn't spend a credit on it at all. Like, it's not worth spending a credit on. Like, it's a good book to pass the time, but it's just definitely not worth the credit. I don't know. I don't even really have that much more to say about it because it was such a short book, and it just felt mundane. So this was kind of more of a dud cozy mystery book, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, a 3-star, I still enjoy it. I'm still gonna have good things to say about it, but it just didn't wow me. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. If you want to listen to Hem and Homicide, I recommend it, but it's not like life-changing or game-changing whatsoever. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and I hope to comment or chat in the comments with you is what I'm trying to say. And I hope that you enjoyed this video because I enjoy making them. And if you have any recommendations about book series that I could read, I would love that because sometimes, like I said, I get in a slump and I don't know what to read next. And if you guys could help me, that'd be great because I don't know what's out there half the time. But yeah, so thank you in advance for your recommendations. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, friends.